Many students about this, students who are going to the States now. This is a good way to learn if you can do it. For sure, the way not to learn vocabulary, and what most Korean students do and what the academies do, I think, is the following. They hand you this list and they say, look up these words and memorize them. I was talking with two students yesterday who are going to the States in January and who are going to some academy. They have to look up and try to memorize 150 words in 1 week. Well, useless. Absolutely a waste of time. I know that Dr. Shin agrees. I've seen his list of words with many definitions. No student could memorize those in the first place, and in the second place, even if the student did, I think the student would have very little. So this is the way. Listening to a definition, listening, and an example. You must have a sentence, hopefully good sample sentences, hopefully. First word, collaboration. Collaboration, a noun, means cooperation, working together. Dr. Shin and I are in collaboration in our various projects. Collide is a verb, to crash. Two cars collided on the highway. VI. Colonial is an adjective form for a colony. Colonial means having to do with colonies. Colossus is a noun. It means giant. And it's used figuratively. Sometimes he is a colossus in the field of nuclear physics or something, a giant. Combatant is a noun. The two combatants entered the arena, fighters. Community, of course, is a noun. The American community inside Daegu, or a group of people who live together and have close contact. Large group, usually. To commute is a verb. Many people commute from Suwon to Seoul every day, that is, travel to Seoul to work and then go back to Suwon, say, to live. Compel is a verb. It means to force. He compelled me to eat his cooking. Compensation is a noun. It means basically payment. Not necessarily money either. He broke my leg. In compensation, he, I don't know what, gave me money, but gave me a car or something, I don't know. Competent is an adjective meaning able to perform a task. A competent teacher, opposite of course incompetent. Compilation is a noun. It's an accumulation of things. Not usually in a pile. For example, a book is a compilation of evidence even about something that someone wants to prove. Complementary, really we need complementary here also. Complementary is having to do with a complement. The two of, oh, I must have skipped one. That's okay, I'll go back. Compliment, a compliment is a nice observation. Oh, you look very nice today. Complementary is an adjective meaning having to do with saying something nice. A complimentary remark. Complacent, which I skipped, very important. Adjective meaning self-satisfied. Complacency is the noun form. Good, important words, certainly TOEFL words and SAT. More than any so far. Complacent, remember, he was complacent about his performance. Complacent is not good. Too self-satisfied. Composure is a noun meaning not losing control of one's temper or one's emotions. He maintained his composure under pressure. Compressed, past participle. Compressed means pressed together very tightly. Compressed food even as possible, fruit. Compulsory is an adjective, meaning required. Some courses are compulsory, required. Some courses are electives, the opposite in a university, say. Concave, concave, convex. Concave means collapsing in, like an indentation, like a hole, a hollow. Convex is the one that goes up. Conceal, concave is an adjective. Conceal is a verb, to hide. He concealed his displeasure. Conciliatory, good. A conciliatory remark, two people have a disagreement, but the one person says, or both say, well, you may be right, or maybe I'm wrong. This is a conciliatory gesture or remark. In other words, in the spirit of avoiding confrontation, avoiding a disagreement or a quarrel. Usually someone has to be a little conciliatory, especially between friends or spouses or something like that. Concurrent, good word. Concurrent adjective means literally running along together, but concurrently we are teaching you Hamlet and the Iliad and grammar and vocabulary, concurrently running along at the same time, happening at the same time. Confection is something put together. The word is used in cooking, bakery, but it's even used sometimes in making clothes. Literally it means making something from various elements. A confection. Confide is a verb. It means to entrust someone. If I confide in you, I tell you something that I don't want other people to know, but I trust you. I have confidence, confide, confidence in you. I tell it to you confidentially, the next word, meaning I expect that you will not tell other people and betray the confidence. Betray my confidence. Good. Definitely TOEFL and SAT. Confusion, literally it's a mixture of things, but it's a jumble, disorderly set of phenomena. Confusion. On the other hand, my confusion refers to my mental disorder. That is, because of my confusion, I made a terrible mistake. Congenial. Good word. Adjective. Congenial basically means friendly, kind even. But a climate can be congenial. Kindly, gentle, mostly. To conjure is a verb. To conjure something up, usually. To conjure up images of horror movies. That is, I tell you a story. I tell you the plot of Blair Witch Trial or something, and by my words, you are able to conjure up, or I conjure up for you, these images that are in your head, and you are frightened even as you listen to me. Connaisseur, French word, pronounced connaisseur, despite the O-I in there, which is really connoisseur. It's based on the French verb connaître, which means to know. A connaisseur is, and in English connaisseur, kind of, close, is a person who knows some field very well. A connoisseur of poetry, a connoisseur of cooking, a connoisseur of wine is a person who knows, an expert. Consecutive means happening without any interruption of other things. For example, the Samsung Lions won 13 consecutive games early in the season last year. To consent is to agree to not disagree. He consented. The boy asked his parents if he could go downtown today, and they consented. They said, okay. Consequence, good, hard word really. The consequences of actions are, one must deal with or accept the consequences. If one is going to steal, or one is going to do something reprehensible or illegal, one had best be ready to, check that out, had best be ready to accept the consequences. That is what will naturally follow. Maybe one will be caught, maybe not, but in any case there will be consequences, at least mental consequences. Consequently is always followed by a comma. Consequently means as a result. He became confused, semicolon, try it out, y'all. He became confused, semicolon, consequently, comma, he committed a terrible error. As a consequence, as a result. To console is a verb which means to comfort. His friends consoled him after the death of his father. To comfort. Conspire is a verb meaning to plot together. They conspired in a conspiracy, noun, noun. They conspired to blow up the White House. Constitute is a verb. It means to make up. The various, the 58 states constitute the United States. Make up, form together. Constitution is normally the document which is the basic law of a country. But constitution also refers to one's health, the state of one's health. He has a strong constitution, meaning he is very healthy, resists sickness, does not often get sick. Contagion, almost the opposite. Contagion of some disease, more normal is the adjective contagious, but the contagion of some disease is the ease with which other people catch that disease. Contagion not often used. Good word, though. Contained, naturally it's past tense or past participle of contain, but contained as a past participle, that is, what shall we say? Some country becomes aggressive, but the other countries contain that country's aggression. That is, make it impossible for the country to attack anybody. Thus, that aggressive country is contained. Contaminated, polluted. You understand. Contaminated water, any things can be contaminated. Contest is a noun, but to contest is more interesting. A contest, I think you know, but to contest some decision, especially in law, is to question it, to disagree with it. He contested the judge's verdict in the trial. Contour is kind of the outward form of something, the contours of the human body or the contours of almost anything. The outward form, round, square, soft, undulating, or straight, flat, hard. Contractor is in business a person who especially makes contracts with someone. Contradict. To contradict is to disagree with or to question the judgment of, but a contradiction, for example, I say to you, Daegu is the fourth largest city in Korea now, and you contradict me by saying, no, it's third, it's still third, as I learned recently. But two things are in contradiction if I tell you a story and I say, yesterday I woke up at 8 o'clock. I got dressed, had breakfast, and left home. And then later in my story, I say, yesterday when I got up at 9 o'clock, I'm contradicting myself. This is a contradiction to facts that do not agree. Controversy is the disagreement about some subject. A disagreement, usually intellectual disagreement. This is not a fight. The controversy in Korea over the doctors and the pharmacists, this is a real controversy. To use the adjective, the controversial topic, like say, abortion, people disagree with it, about it. Excuse me, euthanasia, that is, as we call it, mercy killing, controversial topic. To convene is to come together, that is, all the representatives convened last week in Seoul, that is, came together, met. A convent is a monastery, really, for women, for nuns in the Catholic Church. You know, monks, I think. Monks are men who live together in a monastery in Catholicism. A convent is a group of nuns, or the place where the nuns live to pray and lead the contemplative life. A convert, the verb is convert. If I convert my electricity from 110 to 220, that's easy. If I convert you from Buddhism to Christianity, if I wanted to, or if someone else converts you, that is, the person persuades you to change your mind. But the noun form, a convert, is a little more interesting. A convert is a person who has changed, usually religion, from Christianity to Buddhism, say. He or she is a convert. Convex, concave, convex, right? Convex curve goes up, swings up and then down. Mathematics term, I guess. Convoke, interesting word. Convocation, literally it means to call together. Very seldom used. They convoked all the representatives, maybe. I've never seen it used, but it's not hard to call together. Corpulent means fat. Good word. Corroboration is support. An accident occurs. One witness says, "Yes, I saw it. This man was at fault. It was his fault. He caused the accident." And then another man gives corroboration of that testimony and says the same thing. He corroborates the first guy. Courteous, of course, means polite. Crater. A crater is a hole, usually, I think, at the top of a volcano, but a hole in the ground made by, I think, the collapse of the earth underneath. Wait. Oh, sorry. Shall I stop? I don't know. Okay. Credence. Credence means belief. Good one. Okay, let's see now. Everyone says something is true. What lends credence to this view is that the scientists say so too. The scientists agree too. Lends credence to is lend support to so that people believe it. A creditor is a person who lends me money. He is my creditor. I owe him money. Criminal, of course, commits crimes. A criminal person. Criminology is the study of crimes and criminals, especially of criminal behavior. Interesting. To cringe, good one, verb. To cringe is to shrink, usually in fear. I cringed in fear. Or you tell me how some accident occurred, you broke your arm, and you tell me the story and I cringe. It makes me cringe, like that. Crisis, very good. A crisis is should be a turning point, but at least it's a bad state of affairs. Perhaps the Korean economy is a little bit in crisis now. Certainly 3 years ago it was, during the IMF crisis. Crone is, I would say mostly a crone is an old woman, kind of like a witch. Crystal chandelier, crystal wine glass, fine glass made up of lead, usually 20% around there. Beautifully formed and shaped, beautiful stuff. Cubicle is like a small room, a cube. Cubicle is a diminutive form of cube. Cubicle, a small room. Culpable, good. Guilty. He was he was culpable of something, no. He was culpable in the case that, okay, you lie to someone. The person asks me, and I support your lie. I know it was a lie. I'm culpable. I'm guilty. Cupidity is avarice. Avarice is greed. Cupidity can be about more than just money, but it's mainly money. Greed. A curator, as the British say, curator, as Americans say, is the person who takes care of usually a section of a museum. A curse? Whoa. No, it's a diverse word, really. In ancient societies, if I cursed you, you hurt me or you hurt my family, and I lay a curse on you. For example, the curse that was laid on Laius, Prince of Thebes, when he did something terrible. I'll tell you that story sometime. And the curse was, by Pelops, may you never have a son, or if you ever do have a son, may he kill you. And this is exactly what happened. This was a curse. Pelops laid a curse, or spoke a curse upon or against someone. But we use the word, since people don't take it very seriously anymore. If I curse you, you do not lose sleep. The word is used in two senses in modern times. That is a curse. That is something that has caused me lots of trouble has been a curse. Maybe my car is a curse. That is, it's always causing me trouble. It doesn't work. I must constantly send it to the garage. It's a curse. Americans use the word curse very shabbily, some Americans anyway. To curse is to use harsh language, damn, hell, etc. But that's not good English. I mean, that's a stupid use of the word. Cursory is running over, literally. If I read something cursorily, or if I give a cursory reading to something, I read it quickly, very quickly, running over it. A cursory reading. Curt is short and often rude. A curt reply, are you going to help me? No. That's a curt reply. Customary, you know this, that which is custom. It's customary in Korea to bow to one's elders, perhaps. Dauntless, fearless. A person is dauntless, who is dauntless has no or shows no fear in some situation. To dawdle, verb is to usually walk very slowly. The bell rang, but signaling the beginning of class, but he dawdled in the hall. he walked without hurrying. Don't dawdle, parents say. Daybreak, of course, is dawn, sunrise. At daybreak, he will be shot. To dazzle is to impress to the point of amazing. He dazzled us with the quickness of his hands. The magician dazzled us. The basketball player dazzled us with his ability. Debate can be a noun or a verb. A debate is a formal occasion when two people or two teams speak in defense of and against some idea. For example, the topic of our debate today will be the American presence in Korea. Team A will defend American presence in Korea. Team B will disagree. To debate a subject is to discuss but disagree. Debilitate is to weaken. He was debilitated by his disease. He had lost a lot of weight. He was weakened. Debilitate is to weaken. Debris is stuff that's left over after something has been destroyed. For example, the two cars crashed at a high speed. Nothing was left of the cars except debris. That is, the broken pieces of these cars, debris. To debunk is to discredit, I would say. I'll come back to that one maybe sometime. Let's skip that one. Decay, noun, more important than verb is possible too. Decay, tooth decay is the part of a tooth that is no longer healthy and should be removed by the drill, by the charming dental drill. That's decay. Decay. Something is in decay. A corpse could be decaying. That is, the dead body of a dog, say, or something, just lies there, and the flies and the maggots and other terrible things happen, and the body decays. Deceit is trickery. Deceitful, adjective, cunning, tricky, not to be trusted. Deceit, after all, is the noun form of deceive. The next one. He deceived me. He told me that I could trust him, and he deceived me. Decent is respectable. A decent person. Americans use the word almost in a slang sense. How did you do on the exam? Decently. Probably means very well. Respectably. To decipher is to make sense of something that is hard to understand. A puzzle. I can't decipher this. I can't decipher this reading. I mean this writing. I can't read this writing. I can't decipher this puzzle. I can't figure it out, make sense of. Decline, noun or verb, means going down. The decline of the Roman Empire after 180 AD, the long, slow decline. The decline of some economy, going down. Decompose, very similar, or same example, to use the same example as decay. The body decomposed. Over years, a dead body will decompose. That is, it will fall apart and nothing will be left. Everything will be absorbed in the earth, let's say. To decorate is to adorn, to make pretty, decorate the tree. A decoy, interesting, from hunting really, I think is the main use. I make a duck out of wood, and I put it in the water, and then I hide, and then I have a little duck quack quack sounding device. quack, quack, quack I go. The duck's flying overhead, see brother duck in the water, that's the decoy, and they come to visit brother duck, and the hunter shoots them. Okay, decree is like a ruling by a government. Often a verb too. The government decreed that, I don't know, the doctors must return to their hospitals or something. Defamation, defame is the verb, the next one. To defame someone is to slander that person, to say bad things about that person. Defamation, he spoke in defamation of me, he said terrible things about me. Defection, interesting, defection, politically, to defect. Who was the man? Huang, I think, the former teacher of Kim Jong-il maybe, who defected from North Korea, first to China, then to Japan, then to South Korea a few years ago. To defect is, to defect from, is to leave one's country, escape basically, and seek asylum in another country. That is someone's defection. Defendant in a trial is the person who has been accused. The defendant claimed that he was innocent. A defender is a person who defends something. To defer, if I defer to someone, I yield to that person. Good adjective, deferential. If I defer to someone, I say, you are older or wiser or better qualified to answer this question, I defer to you. Defiant is refusing to accept, especially defeat, refusing to accept even reproach or scolding, remaining defiant. The look of Michelangelo's David as he looks presumably across the field at Goliath. Defiant. Deficiency is a shortcoming. The deficiency of his vitamins, a vitamin deficiency caused his illness. The deficiency of his skill led to his defeat. He was deficient in preparation, maybe. He was deficient in knowledge. That is, did not have enough. Defrauder, interesting. A defrauder is a person who defrauds someone. A person who defrauds someone is a fraud, but a fraud doesn't necessarily take my money. If the fraud defrauds me, he takes my money. A defrauder then is a person who cheats another person by trickery of money usually. Deject means to sadden. Dejected, saddened. I was dejected when I received some very bad news. Remained dejected for a long time. Deleterious means harmful. Good word. SAT word, I think. Harmful. The deleterious effects of eating maybe too much sugar even. Delicate is easily harmed. Gentle, soft, probably easily harmed. A delicate baby or girl, not very strong, certainly not tough. Tough is the opposite. Delinquent is almost criminal, wrongdoing anyway. But the word in English is used especially two ways. A juvenile delinquent, used to be, is a young person who commits crimes. He was tried, they were tried as a delinquent, a juvenile delinquent, that is, in a separate court. The word is used more commonly now, and he was delinquent in his payments. He borrowed money or he owes money to Visa or a bank or something, and was delinquent in his payments. Didn't pay. A deluge is basically the downpour of rain that produces a flood. And therefore, deluge means both the downpour and the flood. To delve, literally, is to dig. To delve into something is to investigate. I will delve into it. I will investigate it. I will find out about it. Demise is death. It's a euphemism. Where do I have the word euphemism somewhere? I don't think so. Euphoria, euphemism. Excellent. Good list. Demise. Demise is a noun. Until his demise last year, he remained healthy and an advocate of human rights or something. It's a euphemism for death. Euphemism, as you will see, means a nice way to say something not very pleasant. Many Americans, I think, consider the word death as somewhat harsh, and therefore to avoid it, they resort to a euphemism like demise. Demographics is the study of especially social classes, ethnic groups in a society. Demographics is the study of where people live, where people move, the consequent economic changes that occur after these moves and shifts. Interesting. Demolish, to demolish is to destroy. His car was demolished. He demolished his car. To denote is to observe closely and see as it is. Very seldom used. To denounce is to condemn. I denounced him. I denounced Kim Dae-jung as a fraud. I attack him as a fraud. Condemn. Dense, strange word here. Thick, not having much air. Thick, opaque, thick. Depart, interesting, a verb to leave. Notice depart is VI. He departed from the scene. To depict, good is a VT. The novel depicts Korean society at the turn of the century. Depict, describe, show in a kind of picture. Deplete, to reduce, to eat away at. May we stop for just 1 second, Patricia? Deport, to deport someone is to basically banish or exile that person from one society, kick out. Deportment is basically behavior. It's the way one carries oneself. That's the root in there. Port, the way one carries oneself. To depose is especially a king. One king was deposed by a group of people, that is, was taken away from the throne, removed from the throne, lost the throne. Depress, to depress, it can, well, to sadden. His failure depresses me. To deprive is to take away from. They deprived him of his title as a boxer. He was a champion, but he never fought. And so they deprived him of his, to deprive someone of something. To deprive someone of an education. That is, to deny that person an education. Dermatologist is a doctor of skin. Descendant is a person who follows me. That is, I am a descendant from my ancestors way back in time. To desecrate is to treat a holy object without reverence, without respect, to spoil a holy object. You can desecrate mostly a holy object. Desert, or desert, excuse me. Desert is the Sahara. Desertion is abandonment, especially from the military. He deserted, verb, from his company where he was serving in the military, guilty of desertion. Child desertion also, a parent who simply abandons a child is guilty of child desertion, abandonment. Desolate, good one. Barren, a desert is desolate, that is, things don't grow there, at least not very easily. Despicable is based on despise. To despise is misunderstood. To despise is to look down upon. Despicare, Latin. If I despise someone, I look down on that person. But Americans often use it to mean dislike or hate. It does not mean hate. For example, I hear people say, I despise spinach. You can't look down on spinach. You can look down on some other person, or a criminal or a bad person. You can despise him, let's say. And that person is despicable then. His behavior is despicable. Despondent is sad, depressed. He was despondent about the news. A despot is a tyrant, a person who claims absolute power without arriving at that power legally. To detain is to keep back, hold back, usually by force. He was detained by the police after the accident or after the crime. He was not officially charged with the crime. He was detained for questioning. Good. Hold back. To deter is to kind of prevent. Nothing will deter me from talking to her or to him. Nothing will prevent me from. Nothing will take me off of the road, a road between me and him or her. A detour is the noun form. Not here, that's okay. From the same set of words. To detest is to loathe, to hate. Notice loathe, L-O-A-T-H-E, remember. Devastated, a cliche in modern culture, particularly annoying to me. If you watch the news in English and something bad happens and someone is interviewed, it is absolutely predictable that the person will say, I was devastated. I am devastated. It's amusing. It's the what should we say? The verbal poverty of a culture when everybody says the same thing. Devastated. Devastated basically means, what does it mean? It's hyperbolic. It's hyperbole, of course. Too bad. We need hyperbole here. Devastated means saddened, shocked and saddened. Devious, a devious person is tricky, crafty, cunning. Devotee, French word, feminine form here. A devotee, as we say, of someone or something, is a person who follows that person or thing very faithfully. Not in religion, though. The word is more frivolous than that. A devotee of rock music. Often misused, but okay. Devotion is attachment to and reverence for. His devotion to the Virgin Mary. Let's say many Catholics feel devotion to or for the Virgin Mary, let's say. Reverence, attachment. To devour is to eat up. He devoured his meal quickly because he was very hungry. Taxes devour someone's income. Okay, dexterity is skill, especially manual skill, skill with one's hands. But people talk about verbal dexterity, to use that word again, verbal, having to do with words, verbal. What did I say? Verbal, I used it recently. But verbal dexterity, really not very good use of words. Dexter means right, meaning right hand. But verbal dexterity is agility and skill with language. Dexterous, skillful with one's hands. Often used ambidextrous. He is ambidextrous. A person who is ambidextrous, one word, can use both hands with equal skill, as if he had two right hands. That's the meaning. Diagonal, a diagonal line, adjective, is a line that runs across something. You know this, in a square or a rectangle, the diagonal joins the two opposite sides and runs across it. So we say that someone ran diagonally across the street. That is, did not run straight across the street, but perhaps diagonally to the other corner. A diagonal line. Dichotomy, good, is a split into two that cannot easily be healed or reconciled. The dichotomy between good and evil, maybe. The dichotomy between hope and despair, two absolute opposites in theory. Dictate is a verb. Of course, Dr. Shin gives you maybe a dictation. He reads a passage and you write it down. He dictates it to you. But reason dictates that people obey laws most of the time and keep promises and meet their obligations. Reason dictates means reason tells us almost in a command. Dictation, you take dictation from Dr. Shin maybe. Diffidence, good word. Opposite, confidence. He felt diffidence when confronted with this task. That is, he felt nervous and uneasy, did not feel confidence. Dignify is a verb. To dignify an occasion means to, really it's used in a couple of ways, but I'll give you a good example. Almost a cliche, and you must know the word cliche. You say, we have a disagreement, and I say, or you say something outrageous, something just irrelevant, not to the point at all, and kind of foolish. And, oh, better yet, you attack me personally rather than dealing with the topic. And I say, I will not dignify that comment with a reply. This is commonly said. It's the only use of dignify. Much more common is dignified, past participle. That's much more important. His behavior was dignified and decorous. We're going to get that one in there too, Dr. Shin, decorous. Meaning he did not lose his dignity, he kept his composure from the previous page. He remained dignified. He did not become furious or say or do anything stupid. To digress is to leave the topic that we're talking about. You and I are talking about the Korean economy, and suddenly I say, did you hear that the Yankees won? I'm digressing from the task, from the topic. This is a digression. To dilute is usually to pour water into. Some people dilute their wine by pouring water into it. Italian women do that. To diminish is to make small. Back to dilute a second. No, believe it. To diminish is to make small. usually VT. Let's see now, what diminishes? Our supply of something diminishes daily, VI, okay? Nothing diminished his confidence, VT. Make smaller. Dirigible, whoa, surprise. A dirigible was like the Hindenburg, those blimps, as Americans call them, those large objects that seem to float in the air, big, long. The Goodyear blimp is a dirigible. Dirigible really simply means directable. It can be directed. It can be steered. It's dirigible. And really, it's a good word that ought to be used, but unusable. Disarray, his clothing, his hair was in disarray. Mine often is. His room was in disarray. That is, everything, it was a mess. To be in disarray. Now, often, the political leadership can be in disarray. For example, right now, American society is a little bit in disarray because of the uncertainty of our election. I would say that we are saved by indifference, if you understand my meaning there. Check that one out. To discard is to throw away. He discarded many votes were discarded when the voters voted for 2 people or something stupid. Discordance is, the opposite is harmony. Discord is normally the noun. Discord is the opposite of harmony. Harmony, things making nice sounds together. Discord, cacophony. We could add that sometime too. Discord, terrible sound. Discordance, almost never used, an alternate of discord. Discreet, good word. Adjective, literally, to be discreet is to show good judgment. You seem sad, you're worried about something, and I know it's serious. I ask you, can I help you? Would you like to talk? I suspect that your problem is, I don't know, with your parents or your girlfriend or boyfriend or something, but if I'm discreet, I show judgment and delicacy. I show discretion. Noun. Discriminating. A person who discriminates differentiates between or among things. And so we say he has discriminating taste, meaning he can discriminate between what is superior and what is inferior, what is admirable and what is not admirable. Disdain is scorn. Good word. It's both a noun and a verb. He showed disdain for the people in that group. Scorn. He disdained the people in that group. Disgust, also a noun and a verb. He showed disgust for the terrible behavior of the other people, the barbarians. Their behavior disgusted him, verb. Disinclination, opposite inclination. I have a disinclination to speak too openly about some subject because I fear that I will upset people or something. That is, I hesitate, I decide not to do it. I'm disinclined to do it. I'm inclined to, that is, I have a strong temptation to. I'm disinclined to, that is, I'm reluctant to. Disparate, good word. Disparate, diverse. Diverse. A disparate, disparate, hard one. Good word, but I can't think of an example. Disparity is inequality. Parity, equality. Disparity, inequality. The disparity of their ages made this couple seem ludicrous or ridiculous or not acceptable. The disparity of their fortune, he rich, she poor. Inequality. Dispensary is normally a place where medicine is dispensed. That is, often a doctor is not even there, only a nurse. Like a small clinic. To dispense with something, VI, is to do without and perhaps even discard, which we had before. Let's dispense with ceremony. I hate you. Let's do away with, throw away. Stupid example, I must be tiring. To disperse is to scatter. The crowd dispersed after the accident. The crowd scattered and went away. Disposition. I'll use it in the primary sense. His disposition is very good, meaning his temperament, meaning he's friendly, never depressed or ill-tempered or angry or irritable. He has a good disposition. To dispute is like to debate, to disagree about, but I will not dispute the fact that he is a good athlete, but I will dispute the fact that he is a good person. Dispute VT there. VI, they disputed, or a noun, better. Dispute is a noun, better. They had a dispute about the government's decision, a disagreement. To dissect is to cut apart. To dissect a frog, medical students dissect frogs and cats and all kinds of animals to understand the inner organs and workings. To dissipate, very good, it's similar to disperse. To dissipate is to scatter something, but I said disperse, VI, the crowd dispersed, period, after the accident. Good. To dissipate is VT, that is, he dissipated his fortune quickly, scattered it, lost it, wasted it. He leads a dissipated life, drinks too much, runs around too much. To dissipate, good. To dissuade is the opposite of persuade. He persuaded me to go with him. I dissuaded him from doing this dastardly deed, this reprehensible or bad deed. To distribute is to hand out and give to people. The medical students distribute little pamphlets or pieces of paper that have to do with the crisis there of the doctors and pharmacists and all that. To disturb is to upset the composure of. Some news disturbed me, meaning I felt composed, I was calm and happy, but the news disturbed me. Now, on hotel doors, you hang out the sign, do not disturb, meaning I don't want any company now, I don't want to be interrupted, I'm sleeping or doing something. To divert is like to detour, or to deter, kind of. To divert funds, let's say the bank plans to spend, or the government plans to spend X billion on some highway. They divert the funds to some other cause. Divine, having to do with the supernatural, God specifically, or gods. Divine intervention, that's a good one. Only divine intervention can help him on his sunung. Okay? Only if God intervenes and helps him directly. Divine intervention. To divulge is to reveal. To divulge a secret. To divulge a secret only. Docile. Calm, easily instructed, easily leadable, an animal, perhaps, a child, especially a docile child, doesn't fight, doesn't resist. I'll stop there. That's a good place.